My guest this evening, Dr. Vikram Singh, is a former DGP of the Uttar Pradesh Police, joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Deepak Raheja is a psychiatrist with us as well. And Shivani Mistry Sadhu is a marriage and relationship counselor. She's joining us on the broadcast as well. Dr. Vikram Singh, can I just start with you? Can you wrap? This is not the first time we are seeing a mother murder her child. We've seen it. In the Indrani Mukherjee case as well. But in that case, the daughter was a grown-up daughter. There were dynamics which were beyond our comprehension. In this case, this is a 4-year-old child, completely dependent on his mother. He's the only child. Can you wrap your head around why and how something like this would have happened?
Shreya, good evening. Like you, I'm also shell-shocked and numbed on how this brutal and ghastly murder took place. I have seen many murders, the ghastly ones at that, but this has indeed left me absolutely numb. And the manner in which it was conducted, divorce-related stress, we have seen so many divorce-related stresses. One doesn't chop off and butcher a 4-year-old baby like that. One has to be a depraved monster to do a thing like that, and the mind has to be wired in a very different direction. And which I feel that in spite of being an ex-Oxford or Harvard or whatever, be the CEO of an AI startup, I feel there was something absolutely lacking in the heart and mind and the spirit. And that is what explains a divorce is not a sufficient reason to butcher your own child, your own flesh and blood like this. I take you back to Mrs. Doubtfire, where Robin Williams, in fact, went to absurd lengths. And that is on the basis of real story. My children are like oxygen to me. I cannot live without them. That was one extreme, and this is the other extreme, Shreya. And I, for one, would like to understand that perhaps the emotion and the ambition, coupled up with the divorce stress, indeed put us on a short fuse. And therefore, ambition has to be tempered with caution. Ambition plus caution plus also a degree of maturity, then you are fit to be a mother or a father or a parent. Just ambition, then perhaps parentage is just not meant for you. You'll excuse me for my brutal words, but the fact of the matter is, I find the youngster to be very ambitious, nothing wrong about it. But ambition, if you are fit and mature, and in fact prepared to give the sacrifice of a parent, Pitra Devo Bhav, Matra Devo Bhav, where is that Devat? That seems to be totally missed. I mean, for what? For your own comfort level, you have massacred, you have butchered, and slaughtered your own flesh and blood. This is just not acceptable. There are deeper psychological, psychosomatic studies that need to be done, and police studies will come much later. But the fact of the matter is, I have seldom, in fact, I've never seen a brutality of this magnitude here. And I, for one, am a seasoned veteran of the police department. When I'm shell-shocked, what to talk of people and youngsters like you and others on the panel.
Dr. Deepak Raheja, could you help us understand why? Look, we don't have all details of the case. Was the lady clinically depressed? We don't know. This is what the police is saying. She was very unhappy with visitation rights that had been given to her estranged husband, that she was going through a difficult divorce. This is what the police is saying. But was she actually clinically depressed? We don't know. Could you help us understand if someone who murders is wired differently? In this case, this isn't just a murder of someone you don't know. This is the murder of your own child, a 4-year-old.
And for us to believe that clinical depression could prompt or push a mother to be able to slaughter and kill her own child is something which is unfathomable. So obviously she is suffering from a serious thought process, and it needs to be delved to understand if there was any serious psychiatric morbidity, if she had a history of anything, and as we get more details, we are going to find out if whether this was an aberrant personality, because as we clearly see, and the panel and you and the whole world seems to at this point understand clearly that this is one off. I mean, a mother has a predisposition which is natural towards the child. The umbilical cord never goes away. And a 4-year-old child, like we were also talking about, you mentioned in the Rani Mukherjee, for a grown-up, if there were conflict of interest and if the child was posing to be difficult, extraordinarily difficult, but this is a 4-year-old who's totally passive. So for a mother to conjure to be able to do this, and now what really we need to understand is if this was premeditated or it was impromptu, the spur of the moment, but just trying to get to the husband to prove a point. I mean, you butchering your own child. I mean, she's a techie. She is the CEO of a company called Mindful AI. So I hope if she had been mindful, or people around, if there were telltale sign or more clear signs that we'll now begin to surface and understand, if the society is more mindful, then maybe trying to get help to people like this, because even if it was impromptu and impulsive, this is definitely an aberrant mind which needed very, very serious help. And I'm not willing to accept and believe that cues would have not exuded to people around, to society around, to the colleagues around at workplace or at large, whoever she was interacting with, who may have not figured or conjured that she was unstable and needed serious help. So I think it's important for us. I mean, the take home is to be able to pick up cues and at least get some help in terms of, at least if nothing else, major psychotherapeutic assistance, because it doesn't look like she's psychotic. It doesn't look like she's schizophrenic. It doesn't look like she has